Right, so first podcast, we talked a lot politics, life in general, married, relationship. Tell us who you are.
I'm Charlotte, and
where are you from, Charlotte?
I'm from Middle East. I'm Iraqi. I've traveled almost everywhere in Europe and almost everywhere in Middle East.
If you're tired of London, you're tired of life. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, it's true. And you can get a sort of high-end food places and, affordable food places, and both of them amazing.
Nice.
Very friendly people. Amazing transport links. Okay, so I'm an eye specialist. Okay, so I fix people's eyes. Friendly Scottish people, good banter.
Yes.
I must say though, one of the best things they have is the water.
Right, so first podcast, thank you for joining me. Thank you for receiving, or should I say, accepting my invites. Even though we had multiple phone conversations on the phone, and we talked a lot about general topic, politics, life in general, married, relationship.
The best topic.
The best topic.
Yeah.
Most things that most topic that people want to hear from all different perspectives.
Yeah.
I mean, hearing it from someone that happens to be an Arab person, and then someone that happens to be an African person.
There you go.
Two different perspectives.
Two different cultures, different backgrounds.
Right, so welcome again to my lovely abode. Could you tell the viewers who you are?
I might not go into details about what I do.
Okay, so perhaps just tell us who you are.
My age, and I'm Charlotte, and
where are you from, Charlotte?
I'm from Middle East. I'm Iraqi, living in London.
How long have you lived in London?
The best city in the world, I must say. I've traveled almost everywhere in Europe and almost everywhere in Middle East, and coming back to London every time is just it's a different feeling. So.
Have you heard the feeling that is of Charlotte? This saying that says, if you're tired of London, you're tired of life. Have you ever heard that before?
I've heard.
And if you haven't, would you believe it's true?
I think if I say that, then I would say yes, it's true, because I don't think I'll ever get tired of London.
No.
It doesn't matter where I go. Coming back to London, it's.
How many cities have you been in the last, say, 5-6 years?
How many cities I've travelled to?
Of course, I was going to put the cities, if you were to say.
City in different countries?
Yes, city in different countries.
Probably over 25 cities.
And you strongly believe London stands out?
Oh yeah, 100%. And you can get sort of high-end food places and, affordable food places, and both of them amazing. Beautiful night outs. You can have amazing night outs with different backgrounds, different cultures. I do strongly believe, third reason, people are extremely friendly.
Nice.
Very friendly people. Amazing transport links.
I would agree with that.
Going to other countries, you'll have to spend a lot on Uber or get a higher car. But in London, you don't have to worry about any of these things. You have underground that, open till midnight, and it opens 5 in the morning and takes you everywhere within half an hour. It's fantastic. Fifth reason, it's just London.
It is London.
That's it. London has amazing opportunities. Maybe if I studied in university in London, I would have, done all the things alongside of studying, made extra money in different ways. Okay, so I'm an eye specialist. Okay, so I fix people's eyes. So I spent about 6-7 years in Scotland. Okay. It was great, but it did get lonely because it's far from everything.
Yes.
And it's quite cold as well. So it was
well,
nice.
compared
nice
to London,
people.
weather-wise.
Weather-wise, extremely cold.
That part I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, because the more up north you go, the colder it gets. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Exactly.
I've been to Cumbria, which is not too far from.
No, it's not too far. Yeah.
Far from Scotland.
Yeah.
I do understand that the weather there is quite a bit chilly, but good weather though. Fresh air compared to London, especially if you've lived in London for a while. You can tell the difference.
Yes.
Friendly people.
Friendly Scottish people, good banter.
Yes.
I must say though, one of the best things they have is the water.
Which you mentioned today.
When
I poured you water, you said it tasted
Honestly,
like Scottish water.
Drinks, if people see, not a lot of people might notice difference in water tasting, but drinking Scotch water and then coming to London, don't like.
I wonder if that has anything to do with hey, listen, don't hold me to this and don't keep me on it. I wonder if it has anything to do with that. It's the Thames water that we drink in London.
Exactly.
The water that we drink, it comes from all the whole sewage and then goes all the way to, I'm not sure if it's Dartford or Dartford, I think, where it gets treated and perhaps it's not treated as well as it should, and that's the same water that we then drink back again. But hey,
is it true?
Hey, don't again. People say stuff,
Where
but I haven't done research on it. But
okay.
then again, when we do ask, you kind of want to ask where do the water that I don't drink tap water.
To be honest, tasting the tap water makes sense. It
would probably make sense.
Yeah.
But I have heard the theory that sometimes the water may not be as well treated as the water that you drink outside the city.
No, honestly, I lived in Manchester before university, and even the water there is not.
Hold on a second. So you wait, if you don't mind me chiming in. So you went to university in Glasgow, and then you went
school in Manchester.
School in Manchester and university.
School, yeah, and then went to university in Glasgow, and then obviously.
I'm pretty sure people kind of know your age now.
Well,
if we put two and two,
if they're smart enough, they will.
What is the thing with people not wanting to tell their age? Because if you ask any man what their age is, they are so proud to talk about it without no effect at all.
It's not that I have an issue to say my age. I don't. It's fine. I can say. But let the viewers guess.
Let the viewer guess, Open up to more things.
Yeah, exactly. Let things to be, you don't want to say everything.
Right. So you were single. Are you married? Single? You got kids? Is that something you want to share or not?
You want to personally ask me?
I have actually asked you, and you said you will give me your mother's number for me to call.
Oh dear, that's not true.
Educate me on this part, because I don't.
Go on.
The Sunni are they more of the one still leading the country, or how does they?
At the moment, no, it's the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah, it's the Shias that are sort of leading the country.
Okay.
Which is again everything with Iran and all that, all this stuff, but yeah, it's politics quite deep, isn't it?
It is quite deep. I mean, I guess the reason why I'm shedding light on this is most people probably don't know much about Iraq and Iraq. If you talk about Iraq, what they shipped their mind back to is, as I was saying, without obviously knowing the back end story, without meeting someone that's from there. And sometimes we make judgmental, should I say, thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Without being to that country, or
without knowing anything.
Without knowing the people from that country itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, from what you said, from what I know, it's a lovely country.
Oh, it's beautiful. I go.
Which you just came back.
I've just came back not long ago, about 2 months. I went from I went in Feb and I came back in April. Best food, I had the best time. I enjoy, spending time over there. It's very safe. Okay, not even once.
What was the population of Iraq?
Including the people that live outside Iraq, it's 40 million.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. We're not much. That's why if we have a really good government, we can be a very rich country.
Yeah, because oil producing country.
Yeah, but unfortunately it's whoever's ruling, it's not stable in that sense, where people should be treated with fair amount of wages and things like that, but that's why
it is what it is, as they say.
But it's in terms of food, safety, and traveling too, it's quite safe. And
you mentioned the food when we were talking at the gym, and then you said it's one of the best. Is it something to do with the goat head, or what's it called again?
It's called bacha.
Bacha.
It's very, very
nice. It's a common food.
Yeah, so when I went, I was having that almost every night. It's quite heavy food. It's not common. You don't make it on a regular basis because it's quite heavy to make. It takes time, but it's delicious. You have it with your hand.
As most Arabs, which we do the same.
Middle Eastern in general.
Nigeria as well. In fact, there's that understanding that the best food is eaten with your hand. So in 21st century, let's go down to the nitty-gritty, what people are actually waiting to hear, as they would say. Is getting married still advisable in a Western country?
Oh, good question. Yes.
Or should I say, would you get married? Well, actually, you're not the one calling, someone has to marry you, but, you know. I should
question, yeah.
But I will ask you, from what you've noticed, from your friends, your peers, your surroundings, people still as, you know, entrusting to get married as it was, perhaps say 20, 30 years ago, because the study shows that wedding dresses and wedding companies are closing down.
Really?
Yeah, because people are not buying wedding dresses anymore.
I've never heard of that before.
Yes, which then shows that nobody's getting married. Yeah, majority of them are going out of business.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it has a lot to do with, of course, the world is changing very fast.
Of course.
Most people probably don't actually still, you know, catch up with that.
I mean, do you blame them with the inflation?
I wouldn't say inflation per se. I'll say is some of the facts we had to deal with that. We now have a generation of women which are now well educated.
Yeah.
So you now have women are now at work. You now have two genders, should I say? You know, as some people argue, there's more than two genders.
There's more two genders, yeah.
But we now have the man and the woman at work. Most people do not really have the time, perhaps, to give things a chance. I think we're more locked into our career in somewhat, and then some will also argue that the days where we sit down and let things work, compared to where we just test it for a minute and then we throw it out of the bin.
Yeah.
The microwave generation, where we don't want to sit down and nourish it and let's the outcome of it, you know, rather than just, you know, swiping left or swiping right, because everything happens to be that. I think
do you know what it is? Inflation is one of the reasons too. People don't have patience anymore. Locked in at work, that's fine, it's true. However, if you love someone, you care about someone, you think of your future 5 years ahead, like what you want to do, I think you can always make time, and you can always put things ahead of you, make schedule, make time for the things that you want to do. For example, now tennis. When I used to finish work at 6, I will be home for 7. I'll be like, okay, I'll see you at the court, let's play tennis, because it's a hobby that I like and I've been playing that for a long time. So I make time for that, even if I have other things, even if my friends are asking me to go out with them to have dinner or anything like that, I don't mind cancelling that because I want to enjoy doing that. So it's what you prioritize. But in terms of marriages not happening,
as I know from what you just said now, obviously that's your personal side of things, or what you do your day. But as that has any effect on the type of men that are out there, because there is also that conversation that there are no men for us to date anymore. Most men are acting all feminine now, and then you now have the male side saying most women are acting all masculine. And I mean, I don't see it that way. But although I see to some extent in
what it is, I think we've always had men who were not willing to do 100% or 90% and 10%, or 80% and then 20%. We've always had those type of men. I have, for example, I know people in my family where they've had, they've married men who have done nothing for them. They were taking over, doing everything themselves. But do I call that Do I see that as a failure?
Are
No.
we talking about the men not doing nothing? Or?
The women.
Right,
Yeah,
the
the
woman
man not doing anything. The woman doing everything, running around and working hard, etc.
Right.
There is
so the gender role kind of changed.
And that's what I'm talking about 10 years ago. I'm talking about 15 years ago. So you do have we've always had those type of men. It's not something that's new. However, now it's been exposed out there. It's out there more. It's because women speak about it.
But do you think it's effective?
Effective in what way?
Is it sustainable to raise a family in those sort of scenarios, or this sort of settings?
Well, the people that I know, they're still together, but I personally disagree with it. I would never marry a man or be in a relationship with a man where I have to do even 10%. Not because I'm a gold digger, I love money too much. It's because I will still work, I will still earn, but I would not appreciate where I have to chip in everywhere. Like, I have to take care of bills, I have to pay for rent, I have to know when this is due, when that's due, because I don't see it as something that
it's not feminine side. I don't think.
No.
I've actually argued that any woman that does that puts you in the more masculine role, and those relationships never last.
Of course.
I've never been there, so I wouldn't know. But from people that I've actually spoken to, or people that have actually gone through it, it just never lasts. Even if a female wants to do it, there's a limit.
A man should never allow her to do it.
Well, that's the thing. But because I know. Okay, I'll give an example. Personal story. I've been on a date where, again, this is after just coming out from a relationship, and I don't know how the dating world was, and there's a traditional. You take someone out, you pay for the bill.
As a man, yes.
Absolutely. That's just, and it doesn't take anything for me. But this particular person find it offensive that I was paying for the bill
because they're not used to that.
No, that they're not used to that. Yes, but I guess it has something to do with this generation I'm talking about. This particular generation, they've been bombarded with a lot of, they've been bombarded with a lot of false narrative that women can do it all.
Okay. And
what we now then have is a place where you're telling a woman that she can do everything and she doesn't need a man. Then now makes you question, if you don't need a man, you can do it all. Where do you then place me as the guy that wants to love you for who you are?
Yeah, because men naturally do feel they like to feel that like they are needed. They like to feel like you're asking them, can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? And they actually like it. They don't like it when you don't ask them. But then again, that depends on the man. If a man wants to take responsibility and accountability for his actions and behaviors and things that he was willing to do, then yes, he will be annoyed if you don't actually ask him, can you do this, can you do that? Or I do think that a real man... Doesn't it funny
that you were able to cheapen if a man wants to take accountability for his action? Who do you think takes more accountability for the action, a man or women?
In today's stage,
I would
say women don't take accountability for their actions.
Okay.
I do agree with that.
A woman agreed.
No, it's true. When a women don't like to say we're wrong, we've done anything wrong.
Is there a reason to that effect?
I think it's just in our nature, maybe. But then again, hey, it depends on what it is. Right. If it's anything simple, I'm willing to say, you know what, I'm wrong and I do apologize. But I would never put myself in a position where I have to apologize to somebody. Like I don't normally, I have a lot of friends and I don't normally, women, they tend to argue a lot, get into argue. I don't tend to find myself in situations where I have to apologize to another woman, whether that's family, whether that's friends or colleagues. I have to say sorry because I did something bad or did them wrong, and
Okay, so 2024, as we say, life is moving forward. Things have changed.
But men have to before you say
yes.
You ask another question. Men, you asked the question that women, why do they not get married? All that stuff.
I mean, I have my reasons, and I think I could easily back mine with statistics, as no wouldn't just be for what people think or what people. Aside from what I just mentioned about people not wanting to get married and the wedding dress is going out of business, I think I can understand why.
It's difficult for
women. No. It's not just it's not just the difficulty. It is the should I say the breaking into pieces of men and divorce courts. The judicial court system. I mean, if you look at the statistics, it's 80% divorce rates. Is that from what? Yeah, there is a lot of divorce. 60 to 70% divorce rates. If the female's educated, it's about 80 to 85%. So you now start asking the question: what exactly is actually going on? Why is there more high divorce rates in today's relationship, and why are all the divorce initiated by the women? But if you now go down to the court system and see how most men are treated, it makes you understand why you would want to stay away from such union. Most men lose their houses. Majority of the suicide are mostly men. Majority of people that lose custody of their kids are men.
Yeah.
So when you look at those statistics, would it be considered a good deal if you are a man when you know 2, 3, 4 people that you are surrounded with, they've gone through it and it hasn't turned out well? Would it now be a good deal for you to get involved in when you know that's the outcome of it? I guess from my understanding, and not just again me just saying, there's a statistics is that people are
the divorce rate's quite high.
So I think that's a big massive effect as to why most men are not actually considering it, because obviously man gives the marriage,
But then you have to look at the reasons why there's the high percentage.
What would you think the reasons are?
For me,
this might be a first because people are still looking for most majority of the reasons.
No,
let's crack it on.
To me, women can be very we can easily get influenced. Or such and such said this, such and such and wife is having this. You're not doing this for me. This is not fair. One way to put it, women are waking up a lot more. They tend to notice things quicker than back in the day. Okay, that can have a bad.
Can you elaborate on that?
Right,
women are waking up more.
Okay, so that can have a good positive effect on the household, or it can have a bad negative outcome. Awakening in terms of not accepting what the generations before accepted.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, let's say if a family back in the day, the dad threw a slap or treated the mother badly, she would keep her mouth shut and carry on and then take care of the children.
Yeah, but there's not a high percentage of that.
No, okay, but we need to look at that though.
We always go to an extreme when we talk about things like this.
Wait. Today's date,
yes.
There are women don't accept that, which is fine. You shouldn't. No woman should accept.
But we're talking about the extreme here. The relationship back in the days worked not because a wife was being slapped and she just decided to stay. It's not. There were genuine reasons why people stayed. There were two people that were in love, and even if they fall out of love, they always stay together
absolutely.
for common things. Do you know the reason why they usually stay?
Are you talking about for the sake of their children?
For the sake of their children.
Fine. No, that's
which I strongly believe is actually one of the strongest reasons why I believe when two people get married and we should start popping out those babies, your selfishness should be put aside.
Of course.
People will argue, but I need to be happy. I strongly believe, and I was actually saying the other day, I was saying to a friend, I don't believe men, we need happiness every day. Happiness is for women and children. But
that's why women initiate divorce more, because the man don't care about that part. The woman cares about that part.
But then again, I'll not give you another statistic that shows that most women now are more on antidepressants. So even as being single or even being as being divorced. So it now begs the question: what exactly is the happiness that we're looking for? And have we really found this as two union? Or are we still searching for it as individual people? And how are we going to go about it And are we doing it wrong? I strongly believe we're doing it wrong. I think we're doing everything the opposite. Or is there a system tearing us apart? Again, people will say it's a conspiracy theory, but I believe there's a system tearing us apart.
Because look at all the social media. Look, for example, now I'm on Instagram. I look at someone else's and the way they're living. I'm like, okay, maybe not me personally, but there are a lot of women out there, a lot of girls, especially the youngsters. Oh, why should I not have this? Why can I not have that? Why am I settling for a man who's not doing anything? Are most women
influenced by that?
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
I personally
Are you influenced by that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
People might say, oh, she's lying. But when I see my friends on Instagram or Snapchat, they're traveling, I'm happy for them. I'm like, enjoy it to the max. Do what gives you pleasure. Do it. Why not? Be happy. I'm all for that. But there are people who don't like it. They will see and they get like triggered. They're like, okay, why am I not having this? Why is my man not doing this for me? So for example, you get a bunch of flour delivered to your workplace from your husband or from your boyfriend or from your long-term partner, and you see other colleagues, they see that, oh, why is my boyfriend not doing that for me? Oh, I wish my husband did that for me. Or vice versa, like with in other places, or outside elsewhere, you go to fancy dinners. I've been to high-end restaurants. I've sat and I've posted it on Instagram. I've had friends the next day to say, oh, how can you afford that? And clearly, if you are questioning that to my face, clearly you have thought about it. Or how can she afford this? How can she live like this? She lives in such a nice area. She lives this. She's doing this. She's doing that. Flying business class. What she's having all this. I want this too. So those little things, social media can have an influence on your mind, and slowly, and also things are easily accessible. So for example, men cheating, women cheating. These things are very easily accessible online. You swipe right and left, you meet people, and then you go for dinner. That's why things fuzzle out quite easily, because you give things too quickly and too easily.
Do you think single women keep other women single, and why?
Bad friends can have bad influence on you.
But
that's
do
a
you
thing.
strongly believe single women keep other women single?
I do agree with that, yes, to an extent.
Okay. And if that's the case, why do you think that might be the case?
Because imagine, let's say for example, there's two best friends, okay? They've been single for 5 years and they always together. They go for evenings out together. They play games together. They go to gym together. They live close by. They do everything together to the point that if a day goes by, they don't talk to each other. The day feels incomplete, okay? And so imagine that all of a sudden one of them gets into a relationship, okay? So one of them gets into a relationship. When you get into a relationship, you have your man to do this with. You have your partner.
Yes.
You go cinema, you go shopping. You don't need that friend to go with, okay? So you go with the boyfriend that you have. So all of a sudden that friend feels left out, feels like there's not much for them to do anymore, So that relationship fuzzles out, and then you starting a new relationship with a man that you possibly end up going to marry, and what's going to happen? Things going to clash, and then from
my experience, from what I've known, because I've taken notice of majority of this, and I did a lot of studies. No. I was that guy that stays in a relationship from should I say I've been jumping from one to another from 2009 until new generation that I don't even know what's happening out there, and having to come out of one and then taking time out to be single and understand the market, and a lot of stuff kind of makes sense to me now. And when it makes sense, it now begs the question why some of the things that happens, or why some of the things that people do them. And I strongly believe some women, not all, 8 other women that might be doing really good. They might not be doing excellently well in the relationship or their marriage, but they found a way to think, you should not be the only one having a man in the house. You should not be the only one having someone look after your kids or taking you on holiday, or so I want to bring you from that things that you're in, and come join our gang, so to say. And I've always wondered why that is. But when you take your time out to understand it, it just comes down to the statement where I just made now: single women keep other women single. Now let's move to the other part that you touched on, which is cheating, men cheating and women cheating.
Yeah.
And I've come to find out that in this generation, I think that switch has happened. The switch is most women cheat more. And again, this has come down to not just personal reasons. This has come down to a lot of personal studies that I've had to carry out in the last 2 years.
It's true.
Now, it begs again the question, what has changed? What is happening? Are men that weak that women do not respect them no more? That they feel easily okay to say, you know what, I'm going to do what I'm going to do? Or has it come down to the level where it is, if he leaves anyway, as they say, it's cheaper to keep her. I'm more likely going to take the kid. I'm more likely going to take his house. I'm more likely to take his apples. I'm not saying she probably doesn't have our money, but with what the divorce court is giving now, the power dynamics change. And it pisses me off when people say, you know, the hierarchy and, you know, a patriarchy rather, that men rules everything. No, a small percentage of white men rules everything. Not all. In fact, the most average white men are suffering. Most average minorities are suffering.
Of course,
so when we have a gang of all feminists to say, you know, patriarchy, men, sex, everything. No, it's not. Majority of men are average. Majority of men are not having life as good as people think, you know, as people think it is. We are struggling every day, but sometimes we don't say it, because as a man, be a man and keep it in, you know. Deal with your struggle. Again, I don't have a problem with it. I just happen to be a very tough skin guy, but there are some men that I can't deal with it. And then when you speak to them, you realize that it's come from the fear of, I don't want to lose everything that I have. You know, a friend of mine, I've gone through it. And start over again. I'm getting old. I'm in my 50s and my 60s. It's cheaper to keep her. Then you now have people that are staying in relationships that they don't want to be in. You know, staying in the same house but sleeping in a different bedroom. Haven't had sex for 1 year. And then you now ask yourself, oh, you haven't had sex with him for 1 or 2 years. And then you're angry that he's gone out to pay his sex worker outside. Is that fair? If you're married, should sex be on the table as requested, or should it be a tedious thing once you're married, or should it be, does it while out after a while, or does the man have to continue to chase until the end of time?
It's not about chasing. It's with marriage, you're committing. It's a commitment. When you decide to marry someone, then you marry someone. That's it. You're married to that person. That's why I strongly believe you should never have relationship before marriage.
Right.
So when you meet someone, when a woman meets a man or a man meets a woman, I strongly believe, especially in today's date, everyone is extremely smart. Everyone is extremely self-aware. If you aren't, then God bless you.
Is that working against us? I think it is. Being too smart. With all the technology.
Sometimes being naive and gullible, it's much better than knowing it all. Because being smart, you don't. What happens is you pick up things quickly. You self-aware about yourself and the other person. You can analyze them very quickly. It can have its own advantage. It can be very advantageous to you for your own good, but it can be very disadvantageous too. But in terms of women and men, marriage and commitment, I do think that, like I said, everyone is very smart in today's date.
Everybody or just the men?
I think everyone.
Because
I'll tell you
we are talking about relationship here, and you could again rebuttal this if you want.
You'd be surprised. There are.
I'm not saying they're not smart.
Women are very smart. However, they can be very, very naive. There's a difference. There's a thin line.
But if being naive destroys the things that you have built over the years, if being naive puts your child in a disadvantage when the person grows up, is that being naive or is that being stupid?
That's not naivety and that's not stupidity. That's having grudges. That's being jealous, that's being hateful, that's having resentment within yourself, that's having issues within yourself. I don't think that's anything to do with being stupid or naive. That's being very smart when you're using something against someone.
But I'm not just talking about kids. That's just one for the kids. And then,
anything
and
in
then
life.
we then if I have to move it to the wife that use the same logic to destroy a husband.
But that's why I say before, men and women are smart. When I meet a man,
But that's not smartness. That's stupidity.
No. I'm talking about marriage. So for example, now you meet a woman. The first 3 months you're talking to her, you know if you're going to marry that woman or not. When a woman says, "Oh, we're not sure, we've been in a relationship for 2 years," it's like, what are you doing? What do you mean a relationship for 2 years?
A man knows if he wants to marry a woman in the first
within 3 months.
Less than that.
Less than that. Thank you very much. Yes, it's very true.
If a man stays with you that long and doesn't marry you,
no, he's not going to. He's not going to.
Yeah.
There is other thing, and that's when there's other few excuses I hate that people use. Oh, he's not financially stable, that's why he's not going to marry me. No, he doesn't want to marry you, but you
Although I'm not advising men to start getting married, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah, well, because of all the everything, having children, and then if anything goes wrong, and then you have to give everything to her. That's a different story. But my point is, with the marriage thing, and then having committed to the relationship, when you're in a relationship with somebody for 3, 4, 5 years, and you've done everything with that person, when you get married, naturally things fizzle out. Naturally things tend to go the bad way. You might agree or disagree. I again put it down on religion.
Maybe change.
I put it down on religion.
As we grow.
There's a reason every culture has a book. There's a reason every culture has somebody above them tells them, we've got our God, tells you 1, 2, 3, you do it that way.
But majority of us don't follow. We don't follow.
We
that,
don't, unfortunately.
Especially with the ones that live in the West.
We don't, unfortunately. But there is something that's out there telling you. There's a book. I have our book. Someone else have their book. You've got tells you 1, 2, 3. You do it that way, you go very far. You don't do it that way, you will come across hardship as you go along. Obviously every hardship is different, but that's what I think. That's why back in the day things were a lot more successful. It's because people were following their books much more. There was a lot more respect. There was a lot of more shame. Nowadays there's no shame.
I was just going to touch on that because I don't think it's just
it's
I don't
not
think it's
just
the only book.
No.
Well, I strongly believe
there's shame and respect.
Shame,
yes,
and people having family values.
Family value, yes.
People having respect for what they've built, and then
and not forgetting where you come from as well.
Yes, because you want to uphold the family name.
Yeah, of course.
So obviously, as you mentioned, shame. And I think with the new age of social media, where you think the grass is greener on the other side,
it's not.
Oh, thank you for stating that.
It's never the greener on the other side.
Never
ever.
So back in the days, I'm sure some people will probably understand this. If a girl in the city grows up with another guy in the neighborhood, it's more likely she will probably choose from that within the city if that's where she grew up, or if it's a small town. Now you have the likes of having an Instagram, and then you'd have the TikTok and the rest of it. People can find love 1,000 miles away.
Oh yeah.
While sitting down in a remote village somewhere.
Yeah, and then see them the next day.
Or having a fantasy that they can marry a supermodel whilst being in their mother's basement. So having those disparities of how things has changed then to now, whereas I wouldn't say life was easy, but life was less complicated. Life was religion, school, work, get married, start a family. To some extent.
Back in the day.
And we're talking back in the days.
Yes,
and then,
and simple food.
Yes.
Healthy food.
And obviously the inflation is not as crazy as it is. You can have two family, or you can have one person being the breadwinner of the family, and they could still afford a mortgage. They could still buy a car.
Course,
They could still send their 2 kids or 4 kids to school. They could still have two vacations every year. They could still, get loans. They could still have a good life. But whereas now, things has changed. It has changed so far, and I think things are moving extremely very fast that we can't even catch up. And I was saying the other day that I was one of those people that used to think, what the hell is wrong with the Gen Zs? But I've come to realize that I actually don't understand them now. I don't know if it's going to do with the people that are born in the 80s. Because we that are born in the 80s, at first we didn't understand what was going on with the Gen Zs, and then we didn't understand what was going on with the boomers. But I get it. Some people still don't get it, but I get it.
Yeah.
I strongly can't understand where the Gen Zs are coming from, because I used to think, oh, you freaking lazy people, just get up and go to work. But no, why should you be getting up 8, 7 a.m. in the morning to go to work and sit in the office when you come back home tired and do the same thing all over again, and you can't afford to pay for your rent? Or let's just say you pay your rent and that's all you got. You can't afford to buy a house wherever you live in. You can't afford to start dating someone. You can't afford to start a family. You can't, live a good life. You can't go on vacation. You got loads of debt. I understand it. I understand why they don't want to do the same thing that we did, or what the boomers did. Now, that's the Gen Zs. Again, like I used to say, I used to be against them, but I get it now. I get it. Because again, they can see their counterpart, or rather I should say some of their friends, where they happen to pick up some skills and now they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars online from just sitting on a laptop. Then I question, why should I be going to work and sit in this cubicle to earn less than God knows $50,000 a year? What does that pay? I can't get married. I can't look after myself. I can start from this what the time when I could sit on TikTok. I see someone sitting on TikTok getting paid, making sound and making ridiculous sound.
People get on social media get paid more than doctors.
So that's the thing.
Course.
So now I get it. I get the Gen Z. I see why they are somewhat angry. Now with the boomers, they are lost cause. I mean, oh help me Lord. I think the boomers. I think they are one of the major issues. I think we are, because they don't get what is happening. They are supporting policies that's working against the younger generation. Because they are still looking at perspective of things from their own time. They still look at things from when they bought a house at 40,000. I'm going to use dollars because it's the general.
Use of currency.
Even though we live in England where we use pounds. But in their own time, where they could buy a house for $50,000, and they earn their salary is $50,000. So salary is $50,000. Mortgage is 2-bedroom house for $50,000, which means you can easily raise a family, go on holiday, and if you then have a wife that goes to work, that's $100,000 household income for house that, so you can easily pay out your mortgage in less than 5 years, which people were doing back in those days.
And that's why a lot of people back in the days have a lot of properties. They own properties, whether it's in the UK or outside the UK. When you see it, so for example, when I work with, I see patients on daily basis. So I have certain patients and they retired from the age of they're 58 and I'm like, what do you do? What's your occupation? And they're like, oh, I'm retired. I've just retired 2 years ago. And I'm like, oh, okay, what do you do? Oh, nothing. I just have a lot of properties. That's it. So it's that time. I had one woman telling me she in Shepherd's Bush, she bought a property for £21,000 in 1970 or whatever.
A Shepherd's Bush as well.
And then
that will be in the millions now.
Thank you. Exactly. It's 1 point something million. It's just a 1-bedroom. But my point is, it's those people back in the day, things were much easier. Like I said, technology and all that makes things harder.
Do you believe that if that's the case, are we still? She would then, as perhaps, how come I say young generation? She would then overlook this idea that we just want to stay in 160. She will be a man and a bag. She will start looking at this idea of a man and a bag, meaning we should change countries that suits our need. We should go and look for a wife somewhere else when the wife in the West is not adhering to what's meant to build a family value.
But things are changing everywhere. So I'll tell you why. So that won't work, because no matter where you go,
people are the same.
Let's say you go out of the West, okay? You go other countries, they are full of culture. For example, let's say Middle East, and you want to marry a Middle Eastern woman. They already have been told and set in their book that your dowry is this, so your mahar is this, you need to ask for this. The man already has to be established somehow, somewhat financially, and he has to be able to provide a certain lifestyle, especially if she comes from a certain, even if she doesn't come from a rich privileged family, there are still expectations where it needs to be met. Therefore,
but a man coming from the West, sorry, I'll just chime in quick. The man coming from the West that's earning, say, £60,000 a year.
Okay.
And it goes to, let's say, Middle East, one of the Middle East, like just Iraq, one is £60,000, is that a lot of money?
That's good. That's not bad. That's not bad. Yeah.
I'm earning £60,000. I can work from anywhere in the world because I just need my laptop and my phone because my company's allowed me to work anywhere. And I decided to move to Iraq, and I'm still earning money.
Yeah, if you earn the same amount of money.
Am I leaving above average with £60,000 or let's £6,000? So that's about $75,000.
Depends who you average in general. You'll be living comfortably. Yes, you would be living as just like the people.
And would I be able to marry a supermodel?
A supermodel, because you earn £60,000 a year.
Well, I mean, if I'm leaving one country to go to another.
Well, you're going somewhere that's full of culture and good food, so you know.
Well, maybe not me personally. Maybe not me personally. Maybe someone's actually going to say, "Oh, maybe if I can, I don't want to stay in the West anymore. I've lived in England all my life. I don't like the culture here, if there's any culture, but I want to move to a different country. If what I want is a family, I want to respect, I want values, and I can't find them where I am. Can I move to other country with my current salary or with my current business, or be if you're an entrepreneur with my current business? Can I take that with me as a no man?
I don't see why not.
Right, and with the, so that they'll come back to with culture change of our West is changing. You said it's branching out to other countries as well. So would you say Iraq is picking up on that Western?
Oh yeah, but it's not that picking up on the West style of living.
Yes.
It's not that. They've already had that where women should be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Now in
most
the
men
West,
are okay with that.
But now in the West, women just now realizing that women should be taken care of and not do 50-50. They've always done 50-50 back in the day till now, but all of a sudden now they realize in waking up, hold on a second, why am I doing 50-50? I shouldn't be doing 50-50. A man should be doing 100-0.
But what's that? Who was doing 50-50? What, people in
the West? People are doing it. You ask a man, why are you doing 50-50? Oh, inflation. You ask a man, why are you doing 80-20? I can't do it all by myself. Fine, fair enough, because you're living in a country where it's true, inflation is quite high, things are expensive, no problem. But then again, depends on the woman. Is the woman agreeing to that? If the woman is agreeing to that, then by all means, it's okay, it's fine. But in Middle East, women don't agree to that. Majority of the women don't actually want to work. And that's not because they
as most women shouldn't. I don't think. I think what
not because they're not capable. It's because they just want to have babies, have kids, take care of that, live in a nice house, have a nice car, do everything, meals ready for the man when he comes home. You know, as long as the man doing his job properly. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to marry someone and be hesitant. Okay, if I really stop working, will he be able to really do it? Because women are not stupid. You can click if the man can do it or not. Because you don't want to leave your job and not work, and then the man is collapse after 6 months. You know, can't do it. So you want to be 100% sure, but then again, it depends on what he does as a job. If let's say if you're a doctor, then you can say, okay, you know what, his salary is consistent, and he's doesn't matter where he goes in the world, he will still have that income.
Might not be as consistent as you think. Even the medical practitioners are actually complaining as well. But then again, I guess it depends on what part of the world.
I'm talking about in Middle East, you know. But yeah, so it depends. And then again, there are men who totally disagree with having a woman that's just going to give him babies and stay home.
Who is disagreeing with that?
A lot of men don't want that.
A lot of men don't want. Wait.
Yes.
Well, I'm not sure the men that you're talking about.
No. In the West, there are a lot.
What have I been saying to her? I've been saying to her, I want how many kids? 20, 30, and I'm.
You can as a person, you can want 100. That's fine. You can do, but depends. One, can you afford that?
Look, when a man says he wants something, and when a man puts his mind to it, he will do whatever he can or what he would to make sure
those needs are met.
And I strongly believe in it. If a man, well, not again, I'll speak in in a general sense, yeah, and I'll probably still speak for myself, yeah. If a man stop doing his position as a man for a person that is meant to love, it's one or two things. It's either he doesn't trust the support of that person anymore, and it's withdrawing back from wherever he's given. You know, that's one. Or two, he's not satisfied with himself. He's doing something that is not satisfying enough. So he's questioning his capability and some few things. That's when a man withdraws from what he's been doing. If he was a man that gives 100% and it's decided doing less, is that one of those things? Is it that he doesn't trust the dynamic of the other person that he's doing it for, and he can suss that he's not getting the reciprocal back, which doesn't have to be monetary. It could be by a little bit of support. It could be by being on the same page with the person. It could be by knowing that when I go out and fight the world and do what I need to do, I'm coming back home to peace. I'm not coming back home to start an argument again, or I'm not coming back home to another sort of wars or some sort of madness. So when the peace is in the house, and like a man would pick, nothing against the guys that pick rubbish on the floor or do the garbage. A man would get any job to support his family. That's what I strongly believe in. A man would do anything to know, if he knows that his family is there with him, and because having kids is our legacy. That's what we live for. And having a support system doesn't mean a person should have to cry.
But that's not every man.
True. I said in one of my recent videos that a lot of men are kind of useless, and that's true to that.
Yeah, there's a lot of men who are very incapable. They would sit and they are worse than women. They troublemakers.
Do we know why that is?
They gossip. I think upbringing. You know,
upbringing in what sense?
I think
I can tell you why.
Not having father figure.
Thank you very much.
Can make a big difference.
Okay.
Not having a father where he has sat with you and treated you like you're a man, or not having the father present in the house. And
so whose fault is that then?
The mother.
Thank you. So to some extent,
I see it. There are people who I know.
Yes.
They have kids. And they have, let's say, 2-3 sons and then 2-3 daughters. The girls are more manly than the man and the boys in the house.
Yeah, because sometimes the mothers want to raise the daughters as the man that they wish they had.
That's exactly what's happening. Like I know people and I can see those things in front of me. So, but then when you look the way the mother has brought up those kids, you think, you actually, you're a mother, you've gone through a lot, you've brought up those kids, but you failed.
The son would have difficult time.
Yes, and also the kids, the daughters, majority are very, not stable mentally. They're not well, or the ones that are well, they've learned out there. They've learned from friends. They've learned from hardships. They learned from. So yes, it does your upbringing.
Do you know who Judge Soros is? Judge Soros.
Judge Soros? No, I've not heard of that name before.
Right, so he's a billionaire, happens to be a philanthropist. I think he's American and Hungarian, if I'm right. Probably was born in Hungary many years ago.
Yeah. During
the 1940s, during the Hitler era. Then I think he moved to America. I'm not sure if he's Jewish, but Judge Soros happens to be a one of the highest donor to Democrat Party, which is the second party in America compared to the blue party, Republican Party. There is that saying that some of his donation happens to be to the dividing of man and women. There's an agenda. Look, we are at a stage now where they say conspiracy is actually the actual news now. So when people touch on conspiracy, they could always link it to somewhat the truth, because you ask yourself, what is the benefit of removing the father from the house? What is the benefit of having women into the workforce where they don't want to be. They rather want to be raising families. But then you now understand that it comes down to money. It comes down to control. It comes down to having two people going out to the workforce. Then nobody's raising the kids. If nobody's raising the kids, somebody must be raising the kids. The system, the school.
Of course, which is happening in today's
It is happening in today's
But that's why there's a saying. They say a woman either makes a man or breaks a man.
I believe in that. I guess yes, that's true. If you choose the wrong woman, then you're more likely to be destroyed. And I'll tell most of the young boys I'm talking to, I said, look, if there's anything you want to get right in this young age of yours, there's a guy in this 20s and some other guy. I said, look, you want to make sure that you want to get two things right. The woman that you choose to be the mother of your child, and then perhaps I'll say the career that you want to choose as a young man. You want to get those two things right. The woman that's going to be the mother of your child. If you get that wrong, you would have to battle a lot of things as you grow older. You will probably have to battle. But going back to the separation, what I think, there's something happened in the system. I may not be able to put my finger on it, but let me draw this back to the 70s. And this, I'm going to talk about the blacks now. And I'll refer to it as, I would say, the Black Americans or African Americans. I'm not sure which one there's so many. Some say the Black Americans, some say African Americans, some say. In the 70s, there were more families together. What then happened? What came in the 70s was what was introduced was the what we call in this country universal credit, the giving money to the mother. But there was that if a man was not in the house, there will be more money to the woman.
Help.
There will be more help rendered to the woman. And I think the degrading of families started breaking down from that effect. A man was able to go to his coal mining job and still maintain his family, still raise his kids with what he earned. His wife was still able to respect him. I don't think there was any. I don't think all the relationship was all abusive in those, because to me, something seems to be working in those era. Even though there was so many civil unrest, but something changed in that era. And whatever changed then is affecting the loads of what is happening when it comes down to homes without fathers. What happened then? Father out of the house, mother in the house, money from the government, which the government is now your boyfriend. And now you're now raising 2-3 kids by yourself. No man to kind of guide them. And now this children grows up with a statistic that there's 80% chance that when a boy is raised without father, he's more likely to go to prison. 80% chance that when a girl is raised without father, she's more likely to end up promiscuous. She's more likely to have an early pregnancy at 15, or she might end up. The saying then was end up on the pole dancing. This was then, but now I guess the reverse is end up on OnlyFans. So to say. And that is the effect of not having a father in the house. And when you look at that really, and you know the statistics shows that, I wonder, why do we continue to perpetuate this idea that women raise children better than men? That's the next argument I kind of want to. You don't have any kids, do you?
No.
Okay, I'm a father, right? And I happen to. I've spoken to other people that happens to be a father, or I've spoken to mothers that happens to be a mother, and I've been that one of wanting to understand ideas of what is changing and what has changed. And it just begs the question, what is really happening with this separation of family and destroying the family, and this 80% divorce and suicide rates in men, and women on antidepressants, a lot of if you look on Instagram, everywhere I look on Instagram, there's a woman crying on TikTok.
It's sad. It's
I know it's sad. That's
It's not nice.
So you now ask the question: Are we getting it right? Are we all fucked it all up? Do we have to break the pyramid scheme down and they start all over again, or is their system tweaking everything to make sure that we get destroyed as human?
If you look at it, we are programmed. If you look at it, we're programmed. Imagine I have to wake up 6:30 in the morning, get ready, go to work. That's somebody that loves her job. I love serving the community. I love treating people. I love finding sort of like conditions or diseases and helping people and, communicating with different individuals every day. That's someone that loves her job. Yet, by the time I get home, I'm tired. I'm worn out. That's it. I don't want to, when my friends arrange like dinners, which happens quite often, and I go out in the evenings, by the time I'm done, like by the time it's 12 o'clock, I'm like, oh my God, I need to go home. The next day I have to survive on coffee. The next day I have to pay it back because I'm moody, I'm cranky, I'm not doing my job properly probably, or I'm not talking to my colleagues nicely, or little things can trigger me. So imagine when you have kids and then you have to do that. So those things can affect the way your home is, the way you spend time with your partner, the way it affects the kids in the house. That's why having a man to tell you don't really have to work, but if you want to work
selectively,
electively, or if you want to do part-time so you don't get bored, but I want you to take care of the kids, I can promise you 90% of this country women would not reject that offer. They would take it. If the man says, you stay home, take care of the children.
I have spoken to women that they say, oh, I don't want to do that, because women are big, heavy followers. And that's one thing. They follow what other people do, or what other female. There are women that want to stay in the house, but the judgmental of other women judging them that, oh, look at you, you're just lazy living a life on your husband's money whilst other.
But only jealous women say that. See, a woman who wants to ruin your home tells you, oh, guess what? You depend on a man. I can never do that. No, you can do it. You want to do it, but no man has given you that offer.
Yeah, but women.
That's why you're not doing it.
This is where I say women are easily persuaded, and that's the reason why there's 80%. If it's not, is it 80% credit card debt? It's mostly women. They are
reckless when it's spending.
The consumer and the advertisement is actually tailored towards them, and it's because they're easy to sell to, they're easy to lie to, and it pisses me off when you're trying to say that people think, oh, maybe you're misogynist. I say, no, we just seems to understand
it's not misogynist.
We're saying this from a place that we love you guys and we want you to work with us, not work against us as a system wants you to work against us. Because I say this, and I think I was talking to a friend, I said, I strongly believe the reason why the injection thing that happened in 2020, the reason why it didn't go on for long, the reason why it looked as if it was wrapped up in 2021-ish was because a lot of women stood up to it. Let me explain. 2020 started. The lockdown happened. March. Every woman that I know became an activist.
Against it. Yeah.
And this is when I knew that when women don't want something, they could fight against it. And they could break it into pieces. I haven't told anyone this. This is my personal studies. I strongly believe they thought the woman would go along with it because, hey, we want to save the world. We want to save you and the kids. So come out and take the injection. You'll be okay. But most women become an active. In fact, the mother of my child, she was using that social media as well and talking about everywhere I look. We don't want this. We don't want it for our kids. Get this thing away from us. And I think it's the reason why it was cut off so short. I strongly believe they wanted these to carry on for another 4 or 5 years. So we should probably still be in lockdown now as they carry on with their agenda, God knows. And look, don't call me conspiracy, which we want to.
It's not
But I strongly believe, because I saw a lot of women stood up against this. Some of their page, some of their page were deleted, but they stood up to it regardless anyway.
Yeah.
Then it now makes me think, women are not stupid. You understand what is happening.
Of course.
So if you know you can fight against the system, why are you using the system to destroy your counterpart, meaning the man? Why are you not standing up to the man, to the small percent. Because again, I believe the people that control the world is less than 100,000 of them compared to 8 billion of us. And we're 50% each, so 4 billion on each side. And the people that controls the banking and the housing and the whole shebang, they're just small families
percentage,
that have been controlling for the last God knows how many freaking years, and they still continue to perpetuate the madness that they do all over the years. And you realize they don't want money, they want power and control. Because if you have everything, you can press the button to get whatever you want. You can print money. What else do you want? Power and control. How else do I get power? I can get power by wear your marks, take the marks off, wear your marks, 6 foot thing, don't come out, sit down, stand up, shut up.
Do this that time to that time.
Whilst we're in the office celebrating,
just like the Kardashians, they are in control. I do strongly believe they are controlling social media. Strongly believe that family.
Oh yeah, they have a narrative. They have affected a lot of young women. Yes,
they are in control of social media, whether you like it or not. They are in control of a lot of clothing brands. They are in control of all these high-end brands. They are the face of it. The majority of the times, Kim herself, she's the face of that. But if Instagram became Instagram because of them, now everyone has Instagram. And tell me one family.
Did you sign up to Instagram because of the Kardashians?
That time, yes. When I opened it up, yes, there was the first people I ever followed. It was them.
Are they big back in Iraq? Are they
everywhere?
In short, I think.
Where are they not big? I mean, come on. Like everyone knows.
Some people might get pissed off with me with this now, but I'm gonna say it anyway. There's that saying that everybody's doing that surgery now just look like him. That every girl you see in Dubai all look like Kim Kardashian. Is that a thing? Do people go to the surgeon and say, "Hey, give me Kardashian face"?
Don't be surprised if they do show pictures of maybe her nose or her body or like.
But is that a standard beauty though?
In today's stage,
that is a standard beauty.
Well, you might disagree with it, but
yes, of course.
Yeah, of course you might disagree with it.
Find that attractive.
But that's another thing. Men do say we like natural beauty, but then you always end up seeing men with somebody who has done. One second, no.
I'll let you talk.
I will tell you that. So I have friends.
Yes.
Okay, I do have friends, male friends, and I do have female friends. Maybe male friends I'm not in contact on daily basis. But they are friends of the groups that I'm with.
Contact with.
So they would say, oh no, I don't like a girl that has done this, that's done that. And you know what? You see them come to couples dinners and double dates and etc. You see the ones that actually scream out loud and say, I don't know a woman who's done hair, upper body, or she's done BBL, or she's done her nose or her eyebrows like this, or whatever, you name it. They turn up with lady boy looking like girls, and you think, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, just for sex.
No,
they're not married to them.
Some of them are long-term partners. Some of them propose
just
to
for
them.
Sex.
Some of them propose to them.
Proposing to a girl doesn't mean I'm going to marry her. I just want to keep her there.
I mean, come on, you can.
How many of them do you see them married in? Well, I guess majority of those.
I mean, come on, those couples that you see on, let's say, social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, they're all lady boy looking like girls. No offense to girls that do plastic surgery, it's absolutely fine. But then it depends how far you go with that stuff. You do a tweak here and there that you can keep it as natural. Far? I mean, I don't agree with BBL. What the hell's all this? What is that? Are you that lazy to just get your bum to the gym and just work out? It keeps you healthy. But I do strongly believe girls who are lazy and don't want to put that effort and consistency into things do go ahead with these. But you can do little tweaks if you don't, like your nose, you don't like your eyebrows. You can do all of that. You can do your upper body. It's fine. All it is, do it reasonably. Do it in a way where it doesn't look so bad, where you just, as soon as someone looks at you, you are screaming everything plastic. There's nothing wrong with trying to look good. It's such an amazing feeling.
Now, this brings to the second question I should say, or the question to that, what you just said. When most women do this BBL and the rest of it, would you agree that it's done because of men, or do they do it because of other females? So, do you understand?
Hold on.
There's the argument that when a woman does all her body, she's doing it to get attention of other men, whereas some other people say no, actually when we do our body is to do it to compete with other female. So how true is that?
I will tell you that. So for example, if you're living in Dubai or living in Miami or LA or places like that, you're doing it because there's too many competition of other girls.
So it depends on where you are.
Yes. So you are going to be in. You don't want to turn up with your all body natural and not looking as awesome as they do. So what do? You're going to do exactly what they have to be in the same sort of standard level of theirs. But depends, like I said, depends where you're at. If you're in Dubai, you know.
So I am correct by the statement that say women are easily persuaded by other,
there's no brainer. There's no brainer about
so
that.
Women are easily influenced.
We are influenced by each other.
So why are we putting women in a position of power?
Do you think? I disagree with that.
Why are we
women should never be in power.
Do you agree that women should be leader of a country?
Absolutely not. Women are too emotional. They should never.
Oh, we have female Andrew Tate. Cancel her.
They can cancel me.
Cancel her.
No, but I don't agree with women being presidents. That's not.
And why is that? Give your opinion. So it wouldn't be from a man's mouth.
It's not because. Sorry, let's
That's
just.
all right.
I know it's crazy.
Yeah, go on.
It's not. I personally think women should never be in power, but then again certain powers. Presidency, I think a lot of pressure, women can handle that. When it comes to that, men are much better. Not to be sexist or women don't do the job properly, not that.
Misogynist!
I know everyone would be saying that.
Right.
But I do think that women, we are capable of other things. We can be amazing.
Yes.
We can be amazing and great. Very strong in other areas in life. But certain things, it just doesn't go with how we built. The way we've built, it's not for certain tasks. And I do disagree with women get influenced quite quickly. That's why we shouldn't be in power, because that one says this, that one says that. We get confused quickly at the same time. So those little things can have a big, massive impact on you.
So why are they really eagerly pushing this feminist movement?
I'm not with feminism.
Oh,
I'm not with that.
Okay.
It depends what you're talking about feminism.
Well,
it
has gone extreme now. Extreme, obviously, coming from a person that has 3 sisters and a daughter and a mother, a loving mother. May I so rest in peace. Coming from a person that's grew up within females, which I want the best for everyone. The agenda to somewhat push women to have this equality thing, and I say to myself, is it equality that women want or superiority?
No, equality in what way?
Well, don't ask me, because that's what they're asking for.
So
people say that they want equality in salary, but how can you want equality in salary where if I'm gonna have to work throughout without taking what do you call it again when a woman's pregnant and she have a baby? Maternity leave when I don't have to.
But I'll tell you, women and men, we never equal.
I strongly agree. But I'm just saying, but we continue to fight because the equality bases on salary. But when then you now look at engineering job, most men goes to engineering school compared to females. Most men do science degrees compared to women. Most women do shitty degrees for some reason.
We have a lot of doctors who are women.
Well,
we do have a lot of doctors who are women. We have a lot of the,
exception doesn't disprove the rule. I'm talking in generality, not the friends that you know.
Okay, fair enough.
We have to compare the two disparities, we realize most men do science more than. Of course, it's changing now, but it just makes you ask yourself: is it really equality that we want? And if it's equality, what is the equality based on? Is it equality of we go 50-50? It's not the men asking for this, by the way. It's not. We've never asked for this equality thing. There just happens to be that it's been shoved in our face, and I can understand some of the reason why.
But it's not just salary, is it?
No, it's not just salary. Exactly. So equality comes down to I want to share everything with the man. But then when you now break it down to the dates, the same woman that said equality, give me 50-50, wants the man to be tradition. Does that make sense? Now, I want equality on salary. Meaning, if you have 100,000 and you want me, if I have 100,000, you want you 100,000. Now, if I ask you out on a date, you want me to cover the bill. Look, I'm okay covering the bill. I'm okay.
Hold on a second. Are we not earning that anyway already?
Look, no, we're talking about equality and then entitlement. That's we obviously discussing those two things now because we're linking those two things. Because obviously, like I said, I'm saying we are in an age where women are obviously asking for equality, which I strongly believe that women are not asking for equality. I think a superiority is what we're asking for. So we're going to take a break.
Yeah,
1 minute.
Do that.
And we're going to just get some refreshments and we'll come back in a minute.
To equality.
Okay, equality and superiority. Let's change the back.
Perfect.